Hello, my name is Vikas Pota. The reason why we're organizing this global showcase for World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes improve. Given the state of the world, we want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better for everyone. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusions as to how they should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this coming week. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we couldn't have put together this global showcase. Thank you, and I wish you well for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic, and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills, such as creativity and problem-solving, has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn, and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers, and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research, and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. Examples of what we do include making sure that caregivers, practitioners, and policymakers understand the importance of play, investigating, testing, and scaling new ways to bring play-based learning into homes and schools, using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And for an increasingly diverse student population, it can be the key to achievement in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emergent bilingual students, recognizing and celebrating the knowledge, culture, and languages they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, We talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I am truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I'm particularly looking forward to the global showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will be a huge motivation for other schools around the globe. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The Jacobs Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing fine. A very warm welcome to all the viewers. I'm Aisha Waheed, a Senior Guidance Counselor at BCP Margalla Campus Islamabad. It is a proud moment for my school to be selected from one of the 100 schools in the world and be honored to be part of World Education Week 2020. We are showcasing the life skills that our other schools can learn from our school in today's panel discussion. I'm happy to have everyone here as we kick off World Education Week 2020. This week is an amazing opportunity to celebrate the benefits of international education and exchanges worldwide. With the needs of community changing at an ever-increasing rate, Beaconhouse endeavors to adapt, to change, and to innovate to keep pace with the goals that society expects. At Beaconhouse, our aim and belief is that through effort and hard work, students will be able to step confidently into highly competitive real world. We ensure that we are equipped with the ability to make mature and well-informed judgments based on a clear understanding of essential principles, concepts, and moral values. This, we believe, is the best contribution we can make towards their development as productive members of the society and through them to the country and the wider world. Today, we have planned an engaging panel discussion on the deepening families and community engagement. We are joined by Syed Ali Roshan. He works for Special Olympics Pakistan as coordinator for youth activation. Roshan advocates for the rights of people with intellectual disabilities to promote inclusion. He believes that empowering the youth with the right tools and mindset can help lead change in developing an inclusive mindset in the country. Also, we have Abdullah Niazi. Abdullah is an outstanding student with extraordinary qualities. He's an active member of Student Council and have taken many initiatives. Abdullah is truly an inspiration for his fellow students. Then we have Muskan Fatma, a computer science student and an excellent writer. Muskan has participated in many contests and has always been a winner. Then we have Muhammad Hussain Khan. Hussain is an engineering student with exceptional debating skills. Hussain is also a member of our school's debating club. In the last, we have Dania Noor, who has a versatile personality and always eager to learn more. Dania has done many programs under community service and actively engaged with her fellow students in various projects. Let's get straight to the very first speaker, Abdullah Niazi, one of the students from BCP Margalla Campus Islamabad. So Abdullah, I would like to ask you, what is diversity and inclusion at your school?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, ma'am, for that wonderful introduction. I'm indeed very flattered. Ladies and gentlemen, my job here is to tell you about the importance of having a strong student council at your school and how you need to inculcate values of diversity and inclusion as well as community engagement in your student councils. Now, the school student council has always been a key aspect of Beaconhouse School System's program to prepare our youth for the future. The purpose of a student council is to inspire, to administer, to take responsibility and to lead from the front. A council member is tasked with many administrative responsibilities. They are required to spend time and energy in ensuring the well-being of their fellow peers, and they're expected to serve the school to the best of their abilities. As I always say, ladies and gentlemen, the councillors of today are the leaders of tomorrow. One of the features of the student council here at BCP Margalla is having an ascendant and representation-based student council, big enough to offer plenty of options to ensure that every student may get involved, make connections, and really feel like they belong. So it's really about having a little bit about for everyone. To tell you a little bit about the student council itself, we have a variety of clubs and societies available under two main cores, the first one being community service core and the second one being the sports core. Aside from these two cores, we have the debating society, the debating union, where even an introverted student can join and they can participate in the debating union, and they will be given the proper coaching and they can turn into an excellent public speaker. We have the music society, where students can come in to learn a new skill, maybe learn to sing or to play an instrument. We have the culinary club, where students may tend to ignite their inner Gordon Ramsay. And so on and so forth. So that really gives you an idea about inclusion and diversity, because we have a little something for everyone. anyone with a set of skills or with the right interest here can really fit in. And of course, learn the values and the importance of community engagement, as community service is one of our top 2 goals of the Student Council. Now, the council, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't just serve as a body that works constantly 24/7. You socialize and you make friends with your fellow councillors. You understand the importance of unity and of teamwork. Councillors understand how to form relationships, how to sustain commitments, and how to create a vibrant school atmosphere. Students who are part of the Student Council statistically report a higher level of satisfaction with the campus environment, and they are shown to be more committed to their peers. Last year alone, Beaconhouse school system had a council body of approximately 120 exceptional students from various diverse backgrounds. Think about this number for a second, ladies and gentlemen. 120 students, all learning the importance of dedication, hard work, time management, inclusiveness, diversity, and of course, community engagement. Now, I myself have been a part of my school's council consecutively for 3 years running, and it has granted me the opportunity to hold offices and leadership positions while fine-tuning skills such as budgeting, event planning, communication, diverse constituency, time management, giving back to the community, and so many more. And I'm adamant to say that it has been a similar experience to all of the rest of the council that I work with, for all of my friends and all of my peers. I'll give you guys an example about an event that was held at our school in collaboration with the Special Olympics organization, which of course is represented by Sir Roshan, who is one of our panelists here today. You'll hear from him later. The purpose behind the event was to make sure that there was an interaction present between the students of BCP Margalla and the wonderful athletes of the Special Olympics team. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, a stigma still exists in our society, especially for people like members of the Special Olympics team, for people with intellectual disabilities, and there's an alarming lack of awareness. And what BCP Margalla realized is that to fight this lack of awareness, to bring about this awareness to people, they have to start at the grassroots. And what better way to find the grassroots than to start with a school student council, with the students itself. So in this event, as I stated earlier, our students, they volunteered to participate. We had various interactions with the wonderful athletes of Special Olympics. Both of our codes, as I mentioned earlier, the most important course, Community Service Code, which was responsible in managing and organizing the whole event, and the sports code, which was responsible in holding football and bocce matches between the athletes of Special Olympics and our own students. And I have to say, you ladies and gentlemen, and I have to give them this, they really gave our students a run for their money in those sport competitions. Moving on. Student council positions and appointments foster motivation, which fosters competence, which in turn fosters determination for executing plans. Young people's minds are not simply empty vessels waiting to be filled with information and knowledge only, but also they are to be utilized for meaningful involvement. The sparrow, ladies and gentlemen, is not turned away from the nest until it is given the tools and the set of skills required in order to survive in the real world. The great man himself, the founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, had a very famous quote, unheard by few, of course, and most of you have already heard this. He said, "Unity, faith, and discipline. This is what Beaconhouse College program strives for, ladies and gentlemen. We aim for every student to achieve unity amongst their peers, faith in their own ability to perform, and discipline in their respective administrative duties." Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Your passion is always remarkable, Abdullah, but I would also like you to share your personal experience and what do you think, like your experience, how this overall experience has shaped you into a person that you are today.
Thank you, ma'am, for that question, and I'll try my best to answer it to the best of my capacity. Of course, the school student council holding positions in the student Student Council for 3 years running has been a key factor in shaping me into the person I am today. I'll highlight the most important, skill sets that I learned from my time in the School Student Council. The first being, of course, leadership. I learned how to lead, how to work together in a team, and how to work alongside my peers and how to tend to their needs, how to be tolerant and empathetic. I learned community engagement, the value behind communication, I learned the art of marketing, how to go out and talk to people, especially while interacting with, as I already mentioned, with the athletes of Special Olympics who came under the tutelage of Sir Roshan. And of course, it was a very fruitful experience for me as well, being a part of that wonderful event. I learned time management, how to allocate time between my studies and my numerous co-curricular activities. So as a whole, it was, a wonderful grooming experience for me as a whole to be part of the Student Council. And again, not just for me, but for the students who I worked alongside. And for all of the students attending this conference here today, I'd really like to say this. If you get the chance, to get involved in your school student council, don't miss out on that chance. Take that chance because you will not regret it. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullah, for your advice and for your brilliant speech to tell this splendid subject. It was indeed informative. Now, I will move on to Mr. Roshan, who has been working in collaboration with BCP Margalla Campus. Yes, Roshan, if you can tell our viewers about your activities and ventures at Special Olympics Pakistan.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Before I begin, I would like to introduce what Special Olympics is. So Special Olympics, in essence, is a global movement that is dedicated to transforming lives of people with intellectual disabilities. And we do this through the power of sports. We provide year-round sports training and athletic style, Olympic style competitions in a variety of different sports for children and adults with intellectual disabilities. And we have our World Games twice every 4 years as well. My job takes me to different schools all over the country, schools such as Beaconhouse Margalla Campus itself, and by using different strategies such as our Unified Champion Schools program, in which we, as Abdullah mentioned previously, engage students in unified sports. We also try to have a holistic school engagement for them as well. And the thing that we focus mostly on is youth leadership. We use these tools to inculcate values of inclusion in both the students of mainstream and special schools. Beaconhouse school system is without a shadow of a doubt creating future leaders by inculcating these values of compassion in their students. And they're using a vast array of tools to inculcate these values, and partnerships like with organizations like Special Olympics are not only the only thing, but part of it. And other things include like technology, the use of technology, and their student counseling and their extensive curriculums, which include extra and co-curricular activities, which are allowing these students and this school to reach their goals. However, talking about technology, the vastness of the technology that human beings have created today, which too is evolving at a rate that was unanticipated by any human being about 100 years ago. Even today, researchers and scientists argue that the true potential of this technology might be incomprehensible by us today. Artificial intelligence, space exploration, the seemingly fast internet, the string theory, the lack of understanding of our own bodies is truly justifying these arguments. However, these unknowns do create an opportunity to learn. And I think that it should provoke future leaders to invent, to innovate, to strengthen what we already know. And this, without a doubt, requires outstanding future leaders who can help us advance in this quest. And these leaders do not only have to stay in the game, they have to stay a step ahead in this game, in this ever-evolving technology. And there are several ways to do this, especially by creating a good foundation, by providing opportunities to learn to these students are important factors. And I really commend how much command your students have over technology as it is. 10 years ago, such a conference happening right now would have been completely unimaginable by a student like myself. So the students of Beaconhouse, I believe, are already off to a good start. But apart from this ever-evolving technology, there are other qualities that students need to evolve, that leaders need to evolve themselves towards as well. And two of those qualities are empathy and tolerance. And while technology allows us to work more efficiently, empathy and tolerance allow us to build trust, to be more trustable. And that's how our teams become reliable, by having trustable leaders. And this is where I believe community service plays an important part in educating leaders, especially leaders of the future, to be able to practice these habits that allow them to be more empathetic and tolerant. Beaconhouse Margalla is doing an exceptional job at inculcating these values in their students, and at such an early age, and so that they may truly become inclusive leaders of the future. At Special Olympics, our focus is to see a more inclusive, a more unified generation, where people with intellectual disabilities are included and not segregated. Special Olympics recently conducted a virtual online session with the students. Due to COVID, we cannot operate on the sports field, so we had a virtual session with the students, and some of the panelists on with us today were part of that session, and where we taught them the exact same concept that they need so that when in the future they get into a position of authority, in a position of power, they can make those inclusive choices. By playing unified sports today, by playing inclusive sports today, they will make more inclusive choices tomorrow. They'll hire more inclusively, they'll be more inclusive tomorrow, and they'll let people in our community who are isolated be a part of us. And this is what I believe can truly lead a change. Thank you so much.
Yes, Roshan, you have talked about empathy and tolerance, and I think these traits are one of the most needed values that we need in today's world. So I would like to ask you, how can future leaders apply these values of empathy and tolerance in their daily life?
As a leader, I believe your team always comes first. If they're not performing, you need to be the one to go to them and ask them how they can perform to the best of their abilities. Simon Sinek says, and I quote, "There are two things that great leaders need to have, that are empathy and tolerance," end quote. The reason I wish to relate this evolution of leaders with these two qualities is because while I believe that we're creating excellent leaders, we're somewhere forgetting that we need to have these values of empathy and tolerance in them as well. And these qualities will help them to actually stand out in a group of leaders. And while I believe that evolving leaders is something that is happening everywhere, but evolving without these two values, I think, might be invalid. The importance of these values, however, isn't always firsthand, or they're not right at your face. So it does take a little time, because it is seen as a key factor in building trust in teams. If a leader is empathetic, his team can openly go to him and say, "Hey, look, I don't understand this," or "I'm having a hard time with this," or even things like, "Look, I've messed up." When it comes to leaders, they shouldn't just be expected to get rid of those people who are not performing well, or who are not able to reach a specific goal in a specific quarter. I mean, we're all human beings and we all make mistakes. The key element here is to learn from these mistakes and to develop strategies and practices that allow us to not repeat the same mistakes. We need to be able to talk to our teams, we need to understand, to be in their shoes, and to try and relate to their problems and their situation. This is what leadership is. It is to improve as a unit, as an organization, and not just as an individual. Thank you.
Much appreciated, sir. Special Olympics Pakistan is indeed playing a vital role towards the betterment of the community. Okay, coming to Hussain, in your view, what do you think, what role your school is playing to recognize the successful stories in your school?
Thank you, ma'am, for allowing me to have the opportunity to speak at such a platform. Now, I'll use this time to shed light upon how Beaconhouse College Program Margalla identifies and then shares the success stories of its alumni, and how that helps the students and the administration alike. I'll start off with one of our most prominent scholars, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, once said, "The basis of all progress is that you should bring all treasures of knowledge under your control." Now, following the idea provided in this quote, the idea of gaining as much knowledge as possible, we in Beaconhouse College Program Margalla realized that our students have a vast educational knowledge, which we provide them. However, the students lack professional knowledge, knowledge that would help the students engage with the community in a more practical manner. Therefore, we created the Beaconhouse Old Student Society. Now, this society is a network of supportive and active alumni dedicated to helping the administration and the students. Through the society's online platform, we also share our alumni success stories, stories which would inspire our students. The students can then develop their own careers inspired by an alumni story, and then the student can even contact that alumni after the school shares the respective information with the student to gain professional advice regarding a career path that the alumni has chosen or the university that the alumni went to or goes to. Now, this network allows the students to make their community engagement better every single year, since they can contact their seniors through us to know the do's and don'ts if there are any. For example, the event that we conducted alongside Special Olympics. Now, the seniors, the people who were part of that event, who learned the skills of empathy and tolerance and leadership and responsibility, they, after being part of the alumni network, can share their traits, the success stories, and teach the students who are about to come beforehand so that they can fulfill their role even better. Now, we believe that the true aim of a school is not to give the students the required knowledge and potential to make an impact in the world after they graduate. We believe that the true aim should be for the school to give the required knowledge and potential to the students to make an impact while being students. Why should our students wait till they graduate? Why not give back to the community now? That is where our network of alumni comes to play. This network, basically, the network gives these students a head start by providing them a connection to various professionals who have once been in their shoes and now can aid the students with their own ventures. We believe that our network works very much like this conference that we are attending. Different professionals sharing and identifying their success stories at a platform from where the rest can learn, benefit, and even implement. That is exactly what we have achieved, and that is exactly what we intend to do so in the future. We believe that by creating an engaged, supportive alumni network, we can move towards institutional success. Who wouldn't want an insight on whether our past actions have more pros than cons, or how we can further improve that? And who better to give that information to us than the very people who bear the fruits of those decisions? This network gave the administration of the school a network of people who can advise them with their respective professional knowledge. Winston Churchill once said, "To improve is to change, and to perfect is to change often." To understand this quote, you need to know what we mean by change in this context. We believe success is not a journey. Success is not a journey, it is a destination, and we need to just keep learning and keep growing towards a positive change. This is the change we want, and this is the change that the network has delivered. The network has allowed us to work on our weak points if there are any, and that is what we want for the world's educational institutes, to grow, learn, and change by using a platform that has already shown itself to be a beneficial decision. Because at the end, what is success if it is experienced by an individual? The true success is one that is experienced by all. Thank you.
Brilliant, Hussain. It was indeed insightful. Do you have any examples from your school that you would like to quote here so our viewers can have a better idea of the work that your school is doing?
Yes, a very valid question actually. As a matter of fact, I do have many. I'll state one of them. One of our ex-students, Mr. Armaghan Naveed, what he did was that he created an organization called Naja while being a student of Beaconhouse College program Margalla. This organization, he pursued it after graduation professionally and now has been working tirelessly for over 3 years now. And one of the events that stand out is that he conducted many and consistently he conducted fundraisers to support the education of underprivileged children. And other than that, he also, during the unforeseen circumstances of the pandemic, he raised funds in order to make ration packages to be distributed among the more deserving people and the needy people who could not meet the basic necessities of the month. And that is evidence of what Beaconhouse College Program Margalla teaches, what it teaches during its student council and the professional knowledge that it teaches, and how students have utilized that in the world to come in the professional life. Thank you.
Thank you, Hussain. This is truly inspirational for, I think, all of us. It was indeed insightful. Yes, Muskan, I would like you to share your experience with BCP Margalla campus and how do you think responsibility and its role in the community?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So I will be discussing responsibility and accountability. So what comes in your mind when you hear these two words? Is it students doing their homework on time or perhaps other chores? Well, it is more than that. Responsibility is more than just checking things off a list. It is to know that you're the cause and the solution of the matter. It is to know that you are responsible for all your beliefs, your goals, your mistakes, and your achievements. Now I'm going to tell you about the significant number of skills that being responsible builds in a student. First of all, it builds a very positive relationship with commitment. Because as humans, we often have a fear of the unknown and we feel vulnerable. And responsibility is a skill that is learned over time and it really helps students overcome these hurdles and it builds the courage in them to take more risks. Secondly, it also builds self-esteem in them because when they know that some outcome of the future is dependent on them, they become more self-confident and self-reliant. They gain mindfulness and they learn to set the bar up high. Also, it cultivates their understanding of the world and of themselves. They learn to recognize their gifts, their talents, and all of their abilities. And also, it is the first signal of self-leadership because leaders are not only responsible for themselves, but they're responsible for everyone around them. And as Beaconhouse students, we are really focused on becoming leaders of tomorrow. And our school really ensures that every student appreciates responsibility and has some role in the classroom. Like all my other fellow panelists have talked about, whether it is being part of the student council, whether it is just focusing on academics or volunteering and being part of the community, no student is left behind. At Beaconhouse Margalla Campus, there's always a very intellectually stimulating environment in which everyone can thrive. You have the freedom to be creative, to be initiative, and to be open-minded, while simultaneously working on common goals with everyone. And you really learn to experiment and contribute something to not only your society but to your classroom too. And these are really important skills in life because they prevent despair and nihilism later on. Because students have the ability and the determination to do something revolutionary, to do something greater than themselves. So therefore, Beaconhouse Margalla Campus really puts an emphasis on developing psychologically healthy students and human beings as well. Now I'm going to shed light on some events that took part in Beaconhouse that really demonstrate how responsibility is promoted here. So one of these events is our visit to an old age home. And we got to spend time with senior citizens. And not only this was a great opportunity to build a sense of community and to empower and energize the elderly, but we were able to gain an insight into their world. And another of this event was the Unified Hike with Special Olympics. The Beaconhouse Margalla Campus students participated with intellectually disabled students. But why? What impact was created through this? Well, living with intellectual disabilities is hard in our society because there's so many stereotypes and misconceptions that really push these people away and steal the opportunities and experiences that they so truly deserve. It is our responsibility to stop this alienation. It is our responsibility to transform our mindset. And only then we can grow as individuals and bridge this gap. When students went on this hike, they made sure that no one was left behind. At our school, Beaconhouse Margalla Campus, there's a huge focus on having a platform on which everyone can participate, and specifically on a holistic education, which turns students into global citizens who are aware of the needs of everyone in their society and who believe in equality. And let's not forget, this takes me back to our main point of deepening connections and family relations at the campus. And finally, I would like to talk about accountability, which is something that goes hand in hand with responsibility. Because when I know that I'm going to be answerable for my hard work, obviously I'm going to put in more dedication, more time, more effort into whatever I do. At Beaconhouse Margalla Campus, all of the teachers and the professionals are always giving constructive criticism to students and providing valuable and positive feedback so they can really work on self-improvement and learn to see things from different perspectives and viewpoints. And they also get judged fairly. Obviously, this all promotes lifelong learning and constructive development. Finally, if any school or any platform wants to promote responsibility, they should know that productive collaboration is the key. And it is important that everyone has the chance to share their energy and to be a part of a team. As a democratic society, we need to learn to be responsible citizens so we can create an amazing society. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Khan. I think responsibility and accountability is one of the important values again. I really appreciate your input, and I think it's important for students to take the lead in such projects. It is indeed a key essential for a continuous success. So moving on to our last panelist of today, Dania Noor. Dania, what do you think about building on existing practices? And can you also please tell us from your school context?
Thank you, ma'am, for directing the conversation to my subject. And before I dive into my topic, I think it's important to give a little pretext. The term building on existing good practice can attract some ambiguity because of the wide scope of the topic. So to comply with the time constraints of today's session, I'll keep it limited to 2 areas specific to my institution: guest speaker sessions and school club engagement. The truth of the matter is traditional classroom learning is no longer effective in the constantly evolving world of technology and practice. With the world becoming more and more integrated and professional requirements demanding much more than they once did, evolving current schooling to fit today's criteria is imperative, the major focus of which is to be more efficient in your practice. To quote Buckminster Fuller, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete, unquote. Beaconhouse College program does so with a range of enriching experiences. Because realizing that different approaches work for different students is what makes their learning so inclusive and helpful. By hosting regular professional speaker sessions talking about a wide variety of topics, students with varying interests are exposed to information that can greatly improve their existing practice. The application of what we are being taught in school can sometimes be lost on students. And so bringing in school alumnus now successfully practicing their professions serves both as inspiration and guidance for the listeners. These brilliant speakers don't just provide interesting insight about their professional life, but the tips and tricks they learned along the way, advice that will help students right now. This investment in student potential is what ultimately translates into students aligning their most dominant ability to be consistent with their careers, consequently furthering their professional growth and a greater command on their specific skill. Another great practice that has personally helped me a lot, and without a doubt many others, are the school club activities. It gave me a platform to not just introduce ideas that I believe would be beneficial for future students, but the innovative applications left over by alumnus has helped me engage in activities with profound knowledge and empirical intuition. The meticulous attention towards club engagement gives students a platform to demonstrate their skill set and as a result grow in their professional capacity. They create a safe environment that encourages students to share their methods, their areas of expertise, and their areas of struggle, allowing them to learn from each other. In reality, student troubles are more similar than we think, and making smaller societies within the school promotes a well-knit community producing effective peer counseling. Additionally, the community service core of our school makes students more empathetic and more aware of the troubles of our society. This awareness and motive to help those around us instills a feeling of responsibility in the students, a responsibility to make the world a better place, a responsibility to not be ignorant, a responsibility to care for one another. A recent example of community engagement has been our school's collaboration with Special Olympics Pakistan. Though Special Olympics has been a long-time partner of Beaconhouse Margalla, all activities have been affected by COVID-19. But instead of halting all projects, the team at Special Olympics has involved BCP Margalla students as youth leaders to educate people on what the institution stands for, what their virtues are, and what their mission is. Holding sessions such as the Unified Virtual Engagement Activity, the orientation session on the Unified Champion School Program, and engaging online courses empowers our students to lead and support the movement of inclusion and tolerance. Beaconhouse is most definitely a crucial component of not just cultivating student strengths, but allowing each individual to build on them. The entire community is driven around the concept of pulling each other up and encouraging one another to achieve their goals. And when talking about strengths, our school's unique take on helping students identify their aptitude is both unusual and ingenious. Twisting the term strength to mean what students resonate with or are most attracted to allows them to build a class of highly motivated and driven students, enabling us to step into the real world as learned, strong individuals ready to make a change. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dania. It was indeed insightful. Thank you for enlightening the viewers on your school practices. Now I'm going to hand over the session to Hussain for the concluding remarks.
Thank you for allowing me to summarize the entire conference. However, I believe it goes without saying that no matter what I say from this moment forth would merely be a fraction of what my fellow panelists have already talked about. Now, if I am to take 5 key takeaways from the entire conference, they would be strong student council, shared responsibility and accountability, empathy and tolerance, identifying and sharing success stories, and building on existing good practice. Now, what the Strong Student Council and alongside Beaconhouse College Program Margalla's professional teaching, what it does is that it teaches the students and the member of the Student Council 3 main skills: leadership, responsibility, and accountability. Having learned these skills, the members of the student council alongside the students can manage and conduct events such as we conducted with the Special Olympics, which allows them to learn further skills such as empathy and tolerance. Now, what all of these skills together does is that it allows that student to fulfill its role as a student and as a member of the community to the best of his or her ability. Now, having learned these skills and even utilize them, what they can do after they graduate is be a member of the alumni network and teach those skills to the students who are about to come, so that they learn these skills beforehand and can utilize these skills and conduct their roles even better. That is how we build on existing good practices. So this could be a unique model which can be replicated by other schools to bring about a positive change in their society. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. Now we will move on to question answer session, and we have received a few questions. First of all, I would like to ask Mr. Roshan, how has your interaction been with students of the school? I would like to know it from you, like how has been your experience with BCP Margalla campus?
Working with the students of Beaconhouse Margalla campus has really helped me see the importance of inculcating these values of empathy, tolerance, inclusion, and makes it very clear why the students of Beaconhouse they stand out at whatever platform they participate in. I recently like to give an example. One of our shining athlete stars, Hasib Abbasi, he recently opened a small juice shop in his community. And I was really surprised to see that a lot of the students from Beaconhouse were sharing it on social media, were performing, were sharing it with their friends and family, and just supporting Hasib on in itself shows that this inclusive mindset, this mindset of empathy and tolerance is actually being inculcated in their students. I believe your ACE program, this Beaconhouse's ACE program, create such opportunities for students so that they too may become well-rounded leaders of the future, whose focus is not just getting results, but to be a team, be more empathetic, be more inclusive, and be more tolerant, trustable, reliable. And I'd like to encourage all the schools and students who are participating today, listening to us, that to learn from Beaconhouse Margalla campus and to foster these habits of inclusion and empathy and tolerance in their students as well. And while I believe at Special Olympics, we do provide a perfect platform for the youth to enhance their abilities and learn this inclusiveness from the organization, you don't necessarily have to partner with Special Olympics. There are several other ways that you can do it too. But you can partner, you can just Google Special Olympics. We're present in every country, in every city, all over the world. But there are other strategies that could be applied as well. This will truly help your students understand the importance of being inclusive, empathetic, and tolerant, and the value of their role in trying to improve and become a part of a more productive community. This way they truly be great leaders of the future. Thank you so much. I hope that answers.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you so much for answering this question. Now I have a question for Dania Noor here. How do you think BCP students have benefited from collaboration with Special Olympics? Yes, Dania, what do you have to say about it?
That's actually a really good question. And as Sir Roshan said, Special Olympics is an organization dedicated to promote inclusion and tolerance. And even though their mission may be focused on people with intellectual disabilities, it has a huge impact on the students or people they collaborate with. The changes that I have personally observed in my own school are remarkable. I believe the compassion and values BCP students have learned by volunteering are inimitable by any other form of learning. Apart from increased empathy, kindness, and tolerance, the students have developed skills to communicate successfully with those affected by intellectual disabilities. The sad reality is that most people in our community don't give much thought to cater to the needs of those intellectually disabled. And to give this exposure to our students makes them considerate and well equipped to deal with those that may require special attention. So to answer how has it helped our students, I would say it has made them better humans all around. Thank you.
Lovely, Dania. It was indeed insightful. Now, I have one last question from Abdullah. What do you think? Is it necessary to be a part of the student council to make a change in community? What do you think about it?
That's a very interesting question, and I thank whoever asked this. Ladies and gentlemen, if I asked you, you had to get from, let's say, England to France in a matter of a few hours, would you take an airplane or would you take a ship? You would take whatever takes you there faster, right? So, of course, it's not important. Of course, it's not necessary to be a part of the student council in order to make a change in the community. But it helps. It's an opportunity that's being handed to you on a silver platter. And it's something that's, going to make an impact for you and for your community for the rest of your life. It's going to teach you new skills. It's going to make sure you end up being a better person, as Dani already mentioned, better people all around. And, of course, again, it's not necessary to be a part of the student council to make a change in the community, but it's an opportunity being handed to you again on a silver platter. There is good in it. There is no harm in it.
Okay, thank you, Abdullah, once again. I would like to take another question and then we will go to the wrap up. There's a question like, I want to know the challenges students face in Pakistan. I would like Hussain to answer it and then we will go to the wrap up.
Thank you to whoever asked that question. Now, to specifically answer and pinpoint what the students of Pakistan face in terms of challenges, I believe it is quite a wide question to answer in such a time frame. But I believe the 5 key takeaways that I previously mentioned, which basically summarize the entire conference, are not only there to help a particular school, they help the entire nation, the entire society to grow educationally. Because what Beaconhouse strives for is not just innovation and education in Beaconhouse, but globally. And in this case, we are trying to better the education in all of Pakistan. However, it goes without saying that there are many issues. There are a few people who cannot afford to pay the educational fees, for which students such as Mr. Armaghan Naveed, like I previously mentioned, are working tirelessly. So yes, there are many issues and Beaconhouse is striving to solve every single one of those. We are succeeding in a few and many we will try. Thank you.
So we have come to the end of the session. We are deeply grateful for the hearty cooperation of all the participants and hope that our audience was able to take away some helpful and informative new ideas for how they can work to support their local community. I hope this session was fruitful for all of you. I would like to wrap up this session by a quote of our eminent founder, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who once said, if we want to make this great state of Pakistan happy and prosperous, we should wholly and solely concentrate on the well-being of the people and especially of the masses and the poor. Once again, I thank you all for joining us in today's panel discussion. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.